welcome the very innovative Stephen Howard from Group Director of Marketing for Ovolo Hotels, Brett Salter, National Accommodation Manager, AHL Hotels, Nightcap and a client, Kari Hunter, Senior Director Strategy, Sales and Marketing, Choice Hotels. Please welcome my panel. I think I did my back in. That's all right. All good. Okay, now let's talk marketing. Who wants to go first? So, I mean, we've sort of seen what's happened there, that, you know, changes in Google, people are sort of online more than ever before. From the coalface, I mean, you yourselves are doing the marketing day in, day out. What sort of consumer trends have you seen? Because that shows the statistics there with Google. What sort of consumer trends have you sort of seen?
I'll go first. I mean, obviously, the operative word of COVID has seen a lot more direct bookings, and so from our perspective, it's how do we harness that direct booking, make it easy, like Google said. You know, we're trying to make that conversion seamless, and as we like to say at Ovolo, effortless. But also getting that direct booking is, like everyone else has said as well, is confidence and making flexibility as well. That's one thing we've been really focusing on at Ovolo and seems to be working.
Yep, great.
I think you're right. Flexibility has been absolutely very important. Over the last 12 months, we did see a shift in a lot more direct business last year. Maybe that was because the consumers wanted a bit more flexibility with the direct channels. And I suppose the other part of it was a lot more essential services and government business last year as opposed to this year.
Do you think people were booked through OTAs, and when COVID hit, they had a really hard time getting money back and stuff? That's why they went direct? And will that sort of reverse now? OTAs will come back? Because we saw that as well with it, you know, with our marketing. You know, people going direct like crazy. So.
Yeah, I think now the market is a lot more confident. Some of them are going back through those channels, so the shift, unfortunately, is going back to OTAs. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Sorry, Kari. Yep.
Also, for direct for us, they've been seeking greater flexibility. So what you mentioned before about shifting away from the OTAs because of some negative experiences, we're still seeing an increase in our direct online, and the ratio has reduced significantly between OTA and direct bookings, and that's holding at the moment for our hotels. I guess in terms of other trends, leisure, so staying for business and mixing leisure in as well.
Great. Steve, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I think the key thing though is harnessing that direct booking now and keeping them. So we're looking at ways that we can really innovate across our digital platforms particularly, and to keep those people. So I think you may have seen in the Revenate presentation, we've got a flexible booking campaign which we went out with, you know, as soon as we saw recovery come through, to reassure that those flexibility, the rates were going to stay when you came and booked direct. And also the perks that you get at Ovolo as well for booking direct. So we're reinforcing that and continue to reinforce that across
direct stuff and
all of our platforms. And I think Dylan showed some stats, but that direct marketing campaign through email really worked for us in terms of driving bookings as well, because of the confidence that we're continuing that into the future.
Yeah. Brand, how important was brand? Because, I mean, we sort of saw people loyal to brand. They haven't used the brand for 2 years. How important was that?
Brand is number one.
Yep.
For us, it's a pinnacle of where we need to be and stay on brand. And during COVID, we didn't falter. We stayed on brand. We worked hard. We continued to push stuff out that was innovative right through. We didn't slow down. And even in Hong Kong, where we've got 4 hotels, you know, we looked at new ways of acquiring guests, and 2 of our hotels there are quarantine hotels, but it's a very different experience to Australia, where we've created the #1 quarantine experience, where people are walking away and actually enjoying what they're calling the ultimate staycation.
Sorry, I tried to hold.
And so, it's continually evolving and looking and challenging ourselves. And I think whilst at Ovolo we've always done that, we always continue to be proud about doing that. COVID also accelerated that for us as well, and there's learnings from that into the future as well that we'll take, and hopefully will bode us in good stead.
Yeah. Kari, branding?
Brand is absolutely #1. I agree with that. I think during this challenging period that brand was a kind of a mark of reassurance. People understood exactly what they would get, the flexibility of rates, refunds when required. And then also what we've seen over the last 2 years is we've had record numbers of loyalty member enrolments, so people are sticking with those brands and coming back, which has also helped with direct bookings and reducing, I guess, costs from a hotel rather than OTA costs.
Brett, do you want to add something? I mean, you know, Nightcap, I mean, you launched Nightcap, 4 years ago. You now got 70 hotels. I mean, what's the significance of brand and, what you're seeing with, the benefits of a newly established brand in Australia?
Well, I think the benefits for us, I mean, if we didn't have a brand, Adrian, we'd be operating 112 individual properties around the country. So how do you, and that's a lot of scale. So when you talk to the sales and marketing teams, how can they build campaigns in the marketing world, Kari, and for 112 different sites? And how do you meet with our key national clients and try and provide a national deal without a brand? So for us, we knew 4 years ago when we launched the brand, it was really just working smarter. The brand has achieved some exceptional results. In the early days, we've heavily focused on making sure that the product's right. We didn't spend a marketing dollar on for the first 6 to 12 months until we spent a lot of time on guest reputation. What's the guest sentiment? What do they like? What do we need to improve on? So for us, brand was key, particularly reputation in such early days for us. And I probably guarantee 80% or 90% of you have never heard the brand Nightcap Hotels, but to launch and to have 70 around the country, but we've still got 42 unbranded out there. We still need to brand over the next few years. Well, it's probably going to take a few more years than that.
And we're still with you, hey, Brett? 4 years later. It's one of our long.
Been a long journey, Adrian.
A long bloody journey. Jesus,
That's a really important point, is that the brand is far more than just marketing, right? It's our people, it's our product, and then ultimately it's the experience, right? And so, again, making sure that flows through all of those facets of the business is extremely important. And getting that fine-tuning that brand experience, so that at Ovolo we don't have a loyalty program. We just believe that happy guests are loyal guests, and they'll return if they have an amazing experience. And so employee branding as well, within that, with them living and breathing what we do, and then also delivering that experience as well.
Let's talk about loyalty programs while you bring that up. What's the importance of them? I mean, we get a lot of our clients, should I join up, should I set up a loyalty program? Not. I mean, how important is it, a loyalty program or a membership card or something?
We're probably like Ovolo. We don't have a loyalty program yet. We're not at that stage. In the other areas of our business, being Dan Murphy's, they're very successful in their loyalty program. I probably guarantee 90% of you at least have a Dan Murphy's loyalty program, but we're not. We haven't tapped into any of that. But working through what our loyalty program looks like in the next 12 or 18 months is still ahead of us.
Yeah, Kari.
I think for Choice Hotels, loyalty program is very important. I guess, given that we have 7,000 hotels globally and over 52 million members globally, there's instant business that's delivered to the franchisees when they join Choice. I think we heard earlier about cookies being removed. It gives an extra dimension to your marketing and digital strategies by having, that extra data point and touch point with your customers. So there are a number of different reasons why I think loyalty is very important still.
Yeah. I mean, we had a lot of our clients actually swap brands or not become part of a member brand. I mean, Brett, did you ever consider joining a group or a brand? We did get approached by a few. I think a lot of people didn't understand that ALH owned and operated, we own and operate 340 pubs, and somehow they inherited over 100 accommodation sites. So it took, that was my job 7 years ago to work out how do I do with this. So there's a few operators and brands that knew the scale that we had, and it was a blank canvas. So the first thing we did was, we did look at creating, firstly, who's our target market?
And secondly, we're unique. You know, we've got pubs, resorts, hotels, and we had to work out, well, what's our brand promise? What are we trying to achieve here? But yeah, we did have some brands, overseas brands, look at the opportunities. Some just looked at our upscale product like Mermaid Waters or Narrabeen Sands, and others said, well, what else can we can do with your more economy product? Can we look at branding that to one of ours and introduce that brand to the market, and we'll provide you with some key money? But capital's, you know, it's not a problem for us as long as we're providing an ROI. Hence why we went down the track and created something very different and unique, and that was Nightcap Hotels. So that's what we're all about. We're about being very different. We are very different to any other brand in the market. You know, we've got that pub facility, the restaurants, the bistros, the sports bars, and probably the opposite to many other hotels. The accommodation's usually a small component of the business. We've just renovated to a particular spec, and we've got a luxury 5-star king call bed, and you're not paying 5-star prices. So that's our model. Not everyone wants to drive down the road and have something to eat or risk losing their licence. So including myself.
What is it? Each state play, isn't it? Each state play.
That's right.
Yeah. Stephen, have you guys considered or?
No, look, as I said, our mantra is happy guests equal loyal guests. It's all about brand experience, and I think, you know, it was touched on in the Google presentation. Consumers are becoming less loyal. They're looking for the best price, the best experience. I'm one of them. You know, when I'm travelling and there's not an Ovolo in town, I'm looking for the best price, the best experience for what I can get. And so if we can make an impression, we're going to hold on to those people as much as possible. And thankfully, we've seen amazing recovery with Ovolo. You know, this week we'll probably hit almost 80% across the hotels in Australia.
Fantastic.
And that's loyalty, right? That's people coming back to the brand because they know they can trust us. They know they're going to have a great experience. But as Kari said, capturing that data is incredibly important moving forward with the elimination of cookies. And we're very fortunate within our industry to be able to have such data readily available and accessible, and that's going to be a massive tool when retargeting and utilising that for remarketing in the future as well.
There's been a clear sort of move to local domestic marketing. Keen to understand how you've changed your marketing to cope just for the to the local domestic market, and how sustainable is that?
Adrian, we were probably fortunate 95% of our clientele was already domestic. But in locations like the Gold Coast, we did have inbound, and when we lost that and almost everything else through lockdown, you had to look at other ideas and really get back to the basics. You know, let's look at who our other clients are, who are they in the past? Do we pound the pavement? Do we pick up the phone? Do we look at what are the other destination or the other local destinations in the area? Is it golf groups? Is it corporates? And really get back to the basics and pick up the phone.
Yeah, definitely, Kari.
We're also about 95% domestic as well, but when the pandemic first hit, we introduced campaigns such as 100 Untold Stories. So giving positive stories and having them ready when we were coming out of lockdown of reasons to travel across the different regions. You know, everyone knows about the Sydney Harbour Bridge, they might know about the Golden Guitar in Tamworth, but do they know about some of the other stories that just as good a reason to travel to a particular destination? Is
the domestic market sustainable? Is it people that are Australians still going to travel domestically?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, absolutely. You know, some people have said it's a 3-tier market. 2-tier. I think it's 3-tier. I'm seeing very strong demand in regional, particularly Hervey Bay, Sunshine Coast, Nowra. The suburbs have really coming back the last 4 weeks, and obviously I've only got one CBD property in Perth, and it's still well below our brand average. So I'm very optimistic about the next couple of years. Not everyone's ready to travel overseas, probably including myself. So there's still that pent up or revenge travel that they're talking about, because so many other of your last 2 years' travels was cancelled. We need to make the most of it.
Yeah. Talking gift vouchers, one of our clients, Lansmore, what they do in gift vouchers during COVID was just incredible. Have you used gift vouchers? I mean, because I can't say the figures, but it was just amazing what they did. They really promoted that. People wanted to still feel that when COVID was over, that they still were able to travel, and people were aspiring to travel, dreaming about travel. So they found people giving gift vouchers to travel was the best thing.
Yeah, we hammered hard on gift cards as well, and we created a kind of sub-brand within our gift cards to create an experience at each hotel, and they surprisingly sell quite well. But that pent-up demand, people, the wanderlust of travel, definitely gift cards were a big part of that as well, for sure.
Kari, Brett, gift cards or?
Not yet at that stage, Adrian, unfortunately, but I have seen the market data and it is mind-blowing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely. Kari?
The biggest trend we've seen is a lot of people converting their loyalty points for gift vouchers and giving them to friends and family.
Yeah, no, fantastic.
And the other thing with gift cards as well is looking at how you can interact with other loyalty programs and be a part of that as well. So companies like Black Hawk and those have opportunities to be part of Commonwealth Bank, Bank of Queensland. The list goes on. So you can be part of those programs as well, and incremental revenue coming in through that gift card channel as well.
Yeah, Kari, what are some of the best marketing strategies you've seen by some of your members and franchises?
There's been a number, but I think very early on in the pandemic, some of our hotels were setting up work out of home offices, so you could hire hotel rooms for the day. I think people are probably quite familiar with that now, and then just getting clever with their target audiences. So being true to what their hotel product is, and taking that and positioning it in a way that is of interest for the domestic market.
Steve, I know you did the work from the hotel, wasn't it? How was that? You did that really well.
Yeah, we did work from hotel. We did restaurant and room, which was super successful, where you dine within the hotel room and get to stay overnight, and obviously social distancing, but also having that personalised service, and got great PR across the country as well. I think for us it was more around the PR angle. We really tried to come up with innovative ideas that engaged our audience and our guests that stay at Ovolo over that COVID period and give a point of difference. And that way we were always in the press constantly over COVID, and when recovery came through, we've seen the results from it.
Now, talking specific marketing, what marketing channel do you think performed during COVID and after COVID compared to website, SEO, SEM, Meta, social, email?
Yeah, look, I mean, digital is key, like we've been talking about today as well. And we've obviously got partners with Revenate and the likes of Triptease as well, where we look at our analytics, our own channels. Through that digital, we saw a massive amount of increase, like we said, through direct bookings, through digital, but even paid search and SEO over that period. It was a great opportunity. Most of the OTAs pulled out of any paid search, so we were actually we aim to get around a 5% acquisition cost for our through our paid channels, which we do, and which is industry leading. And over COVID, we actually lowered that even further, which was amazing.
Brett, what did you find? SEO, SEM, Meta, what sort of work?
I think it's a combination of all of it, but certainly remarketing is shining in terms of ROI and what we're getting there. For us, it's probably looking at that next stage next year is to take our database to a whole new level and really personalise it. We're still, as I said, in the early stages there, but that's probably for next financial year.
Yeah, Kari?
All of the channels, so SEM, Meta, are all skyrocketing. Email marketing in particular is performing very well. People are providing the content is engaging, are really responding to that. And certainly when we look at email marketing to specifically our loyalty members is the strongest. We're seeing the highest revenue we've ever had.
I mean, we saw across our clients when COVID hit, everyone redid their websites in preparation for it. And SEO, a lot of our clients stopped paid because there was just no ROI. They kept SEO going, and now they're seeing huge returns because they've built up their Google authority so much now. Everyone stopped their SEO, no one's going to catch them. And that's free marketing. SEO is free marketing. You need a good agency like us to do it, but but I'm just saying, do not stop that because it's very hard to catch up. for people who did stop at that time?
And
Stephen?
that's super important, is the Google Authority Score. A lot of people don't really understand how important that is for your website, for your ranking, but that also comes from really hard efforts with PR as well, getting that backlinking from your digital content from third parties, and it's huge. It's a lot of people don't really understand the correlation between the PR efforts and the digital assets as well.
Yeah. We've got a lot of small hoteliers in the room. What's one strategy or something that they should really try and do? Because we've got a range. We've got the big brands in here, we've got the medium size, we've got the boutiques, we've got some very small operators in here. What sort of advice would you give them?
I don't think you can underestimate how you're positioned on the OTAs in terms of imagery, and then look at your own website. You know, you can understand why people will search on booking.com. I do the same, my wife does the same, because it's easy and there's a lovely gallery and there's lovely images and there's specific guidelines. You go to your own website and half the time you, or another operator's website, and it's hard to...
Not the Nightcap website, of course.
No, because you run that, Adrian. You developed that, absolutely. Conversion rates are good.
Sorry.
Anything else?
Sorry. Kari, what's I mean, you deal with the national and also a lot of the small members. What sort of advice?
I think it's consistency. So it could be consisting on pricing across all of your different channels. It's consistency of imagery as well, and consistency of your messaging. So whether that's across PR, your content strategy, what's also being written on your website, I think that's very important.
Stephen?
I got two things. I think big. Think big. Everyone's got the chance to make noise.
Yep.
You come up with something innovative, different. Any little hotel or any little motel can make some noise. I think.
And you guys do it well. I mean, you guys, how many properties? 8?
We've got 8 in Australia, but globally we've got 13.
And your footprint's probably, from what I see, and visibility, probably the size of some of the big boys. How you do it? I mean, it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, that's
and
also...
it's thinking big and different.
Thinking big, thinking outside the square, always challenging
it's simple
yourself.
too, some of the stuff you guys do. So simple, but it creates that buzz.
Yeah, and we put a lot of effort and time into making sure it's right. We never sit back and say, that's okay. It's how do we challenge ourselves? How do we push further? Is it right? And my team always get frustrated with me because I'm changing it last minute. I'm like, nah, it's not right. We've got to change it. And so I think big. Think you can always come up with an idea within your own market, with your own region, or even that might go global. You never know.
Yeah. Okay. So finally, coming out of COVID, here's a question to everyone: what have you learnt, and how will this change your approach moving forward?
One thing I've really learnt is the power of employees. Our brand, they're our biggest brand ambassadors. For Ovolo, we were very lucky to keep a lot of our employees employed over that period, and they're more loyal now than ever. But the power of utilising those people, not just from a brand experience perspective or a delivery perspective, but also, I think, in the future for marketing, we all look at pretty pictures of hotel rooms and pretty pictures of F&B and all this kind of technology, but actually the people are what make our business. They're the soul, they're the heart. And I think for me, I'm thinking about ways, how can we bring our employees to the forefront and that be our unique selling point for our hotels?
Looking at all your touch points, I think that's marketing. Everywhere from your reservations to your website to when they check in to your concierge, it's very important because one bad touch point can ruin all the marketing. So I think it's very, very important. So
yeah, we're very lucky with Ovolo as well. I mean, we think like a startup constantly. Like I said, we're always challenging ourselves, trying to think big. But we already had in place our flexible booking policy, our rate strategy, a number of different things. And so when it came to COVID, we were already enabled to be able to make quick decisions and change quickly. And I think I encourage everyone in the room, don't be afraid to take a risk. Take a risk and make a difference, and you'll be noticed for it. And that way you're going to have a point of difference within your business, and consumers will take note.
Yeah, Brett.
I think one thing COVID taught us, or us as an industry, for many years we sat on our hands in terms of technology, but personally think technology has come a long way in the last 2 or 3 years and probably the previous 10 years. So it really pushed us along to think outside the box. We know checking can be a bit onerous at times and takes far too long. We've implemented, along with RMS, the pre-check-in facility. So, we're trying to get that check-in process of the guests who do go through the process, which at the moment is about a 20% uptake, to a check-in under 2 minutes. So just technology. I'm looking forward to the next panel before drinks too, to understand what they think.
Yeah. Kari.
I agree with both of those points, and I would add in, I guess, whenever you're faced with a challenge, to turn it into an opportunity. That's what we did. Our decision was not to go dark. We made sure that we maintained our ad spend across digital, but also above the line, so that it was all working together, and that's how we've been able to, I guess, move the needle.
Yeah. Any questions from the audience? Got some pretty cool marketers up here. Sorry. Okay, please thank my panel. And the good news is that drinks is coming in now. We've got actually people going to serve drinks now, just to sort of get you ready for it. So please thank Stephen, Brett and Kari. Thank you.